tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
So last night I watched your End the Fed doc. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love that every form of human being was in there, from a Nephilim giant to a tiny woman. It was like, it's crazy that that's all the same species, but here we are. I thought it was great, man. Ian, I love everything you're doing. It's just so on point, and I'm gonna say something, and it's all love. It's like, I love your enthusiasm for anything possible. Whereas someone like, where I've been doing this for a long time, I'm a little bit, let's just say, dead wood, when it comes to some stuff. I sense a belief that it is possible that we're not only going to that we're going to win. And that's why I love the energy of everything you do. All right. Super excited to have him back on the show. Ian Carroll.
Yeah, I'm sort of still in my optimistic humor phase.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll probably get to my nihilistic humor phase.
I hope not. Because it's great to see. Let's discuss the elephant in the room. Why'd we cut our hair?
Dude, it was time, bro. It was just time. I mean, it's not the first time I've done it, and I was planning on doing it for a while, and I kind of put it off. But new year, new me, right?
Respect on that. I am somebody who, I used to have very long hair. I used to look like Chris.
Like down the shoulders?
Yeah. I look like Chris Cornell with a giant nose. That's what I look like. I look like a Muppet Cornell. That's what I look like. And I remember when I cut my hair, the shower was the greatest thing I ever did. It's like, get in, get out.
Yeah,
it was the best feeling ever.
For sure. I'm hyped too. I'm going towards a mullet this time too, so I'm going to allow myself to get the fun in the back and still get a little wild, but I can still pretend business in the front.
I love it, dude. You do have the hair to do it, so do it while you can, buddy. Do it while you can. I saw something interesting the other day. Somebody was talking about how doctors are seeing more hair loss than ever. Hair loss is
I have some idea about that. I mean, I made a lot of videos about hair products making people's hair fall out, and how many lawsuits there are right now floating around for hair loss, from everything from shampoo to conditioners, straight up to the same company selling hair regrowth products right next door to their shampoo that they're getting sued for causing hair loss. Yeah, that's a pretty common story in Target and in the big department stores right now.
Or even the stuff that helps you regrow it. If you stop using it, it literally just stops working. It's kind of like you have to keep buying the product for you to even keep the results that you do get.
It's like Ozempic for your hair.
Yeah.
It is crazy to me, and it just
Sam has a great set. Sam has great hair, huh, Johnny? We always talk about
you
how
are
great
nuts, dude. I got a giant patch in the middle of the top here that just isn't doing great, and it's okay. I made it.
It's in the weirdest place though, so it kind of works for you. It's hard to
rest, though. It's right over top of that patch.
Yeah,
you're all good, bro. Maximum conductivity. The hair reduces conductivity.
Well, I'm in on all of it. It's just crazy to me because there is this thing that, whether we want to believe in RFK Jr. or not, but he seems to be like, hey man, get the fucking chemicals out of everything. You're destroying us. And he kind of gets into this, there's, I've talked about this before on the show, how there is 600 different, over the counter products that have a chemical in it that blocks empathy.
Yeah.
And we just kind of get into what are we consuming, especially women? They're taking all these products for birth control. What are you putting in your body, and what is it doing to you psychologically?
Yeah, no one even thinks anymore about what they're putting into their bodies. It's just like, and like most things that we put in our bodies are full of drugs. And I think Americans don't even like, that doesn't even register for them. I go to the grocery store now and I don't even go into 80% of the grocery store because it's just like every aisle, every product in that aisle is just full of trash.
Crazy.
The best part is people think Trader Joe's is great.
Dude, I did a video about Trader Joe's and it got taken down immediately. Like,
Really?
indicative of Trader Joe's having social media team, someone combing social media looking for stuff about them, because there was a video about how Trader Joe's is just white labeling other big companies, big corporations products, and then pretending that it's natural.
Totally.
And I did a bunch of digging into, a bunch of people have like tried to research what actual brands are the Trader Joe's brands, and it's like it's their trade secret. They covet it and they protect it. And I post that video and it got taken down the day of, and I couldn't appeal it. I tried a whole bunch. Trader Joe's is super
on TikTok or Instagram.
TikTok. It's up on a few of the others, but TikTok taken down immediately.
God, take down on TikTok, really? Does that happen a lot? We don't get into TikTok too much. So.
Oh yeah, TikTok is the most censored platform. I stopped posting there almost entirely for like 3 months because I was so close to, I was one strike away from getting banned. And a lot of people on TikTok think that I've been like, they're like, where are you? You're shadow banned. I haven't seen your shit. It's like, I literally don't post there anymore because it's the most censored platform.
Wow, it's fascinating because you can tell from what they let get through what each of these platforms' agendas are.
Yep.
And that makes, it seems like...
Break it down, Johnny. What are your thoughts?
Well, TikTok, I mean, what do they let through the most? It's the Palestinian thing. They're okay with that. They're okay with young people getting angry about Israel. So that's their part of the puzzle. I'm not saying they're wrong about that. That cause is wrong or anything, but that's the part of the puzzle they bring to this conflict. They allow that shit to get through. And then YouTube is the complete opposite in my mind from what I've seen. And I think they all just, it's a balance that they have to maintain to make sure we're always at war with each other.
So you think they know about who lets what in? Like, oh, it's your turn to let this conflict in.
Well, it's not that. No, I mean, it's not like your turn. I just think they all have an agenda. Fundamentally, I think they're built on this. It's at the core of their identity as a company. And then everything,
like what energy they want to put out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of them are working hand in glove with intelligence agencies in, this way or that way. Plus there's all these NGOs that are like ostensibly to, I guess, combat misinformation, that they're then lobbying all the social media companies to like take certain things down. And so there's a certain amount of like outside billionaire and corporate money that's lobbying the media space for what is and is not allowed speech.
Well, that's why I loved your Fed movies, because I believe that the centralized bank of America, in particular, as you brought up in your movie, the New York Fed, is the center of everything wrong. Yeah. Almost everything wrong is funded through this Babylonian money magic.
Yep. I mean, that's like really why I got into what I do. Is I started as a GameStop investor, and we all know that money is the root of everything. Money is the power base of everything. You follow the money, you get to the real reasons, the real incentives. And so when I started, I was way more honed in on how the market works, how money works, just like all that. And that's naturally led me to all these other fun ass rabbit holes, just because it's like super interesting to learn about. But ultimately, it still all comes back to money. And the bankers are the ones calling the shots at the top of every deal, at the back of every government, behind every curtain. And the bankers, they have factions. They're not all one conglomerate team, I don't think. But their factions, generally, their incentives and their objectives are relatively well aligned. And they aren't the ones that are like on the ground in the room censoring you. They're not the ones like on the ground starting the fire in Lahaina or LA or whatever it is. But like they are pulling strings and pushing the world in big directions, especially with war, especially with government policy, stuff like that.
And they do have different agendas, but at their core, they honor the same belief system, I think, because you see it like throughout history. Anybody who's a Mason, and you've had Masons on the opposite sides of wars. You saw this in the Civil War so often. And when they would come across each other in battle, the Masonic thing meant more than their loyalty to their country, than their vows to their country. There would be people, that were saved that shouldn't have been saved. The guys that changed the courses of battles to save another Mason because they flashed the hand signal. And I think the banks are the same way. This conflict matters to them, but if it ever comes into dispute with their core beliefs, whatever this thing is that they have, that's the priority. But mostly, I think what you said is completely true.
Absolutely. I've been going deep down. I haven't made any videos about it because it's so complicated and so contentious, but I've been going deep down the Knights Templar and Freemason rabbit hole of where those organizations came from and the origin of Christianity and how those organizations were sort of like in there and where that went from. It's like so fascinating. I'm going to piss off a lot of my Christian friends by the time I get to the end of that rabbit hole.
Well, that's it. We've had, it's interesting. We just had Kurt Metzger on. And when I met Kurt Metzger, he was pretty much, I felt, due to growing up in a Jehovah's Witness
I didn't know that about
household, Kurt, that he was anti-religion. But at the end of this incredible episode, he was talking about the power of the word Jesus. And he goes, I don't know what it means. He goes, but based on everything I've learned, this word has power with the dark people. Like, they don't like the name. They don't like the guy. They don't like any of that. And no matter what you say after that, that means something to them. And that's kind of along the lines what I've always said. There are people out there that are constantly attacking Christianity, and they constantly are talking about how it's controlled this and that. But I go, man, show me a religion and I'll show you where some Babylonian bankers have gone in and manipulated it to fit their narrative. So the question goes, what part is manipulated and what part is kind of following the rule of law? I mean, like, when you look at the black cube, I mean, like, we see that in Mecca, and we see it like that's the little hats that they talk of. Dude, that's just
crazy. Have you ever seen the black cube hat ritual thing? Because it's crazy to watch. I had never seen it before in my life. This is like a Jewish ritual, like Jewish Kabbalah. And I was in Hollywood, Florida, which is very, very Jewish. And I just went out to eat at this nice restaurant that was a super Jewish restaurant. I didn't realize. And I walked in and like I'm sitting at the bar eating my eggs Benedict. And right next to me, these dudes come up, these like Hasidic Jew, like, I don't even know what sect it is, with their hats, and they take them off, and they take their things off, and they start doing the wrapping where they wrap the black straps all up and down their arms, and then they wrap the cube onto their head, and then they start like speaking in tongues and shit. And not literally, I'm making fun of them.
Right. No,
but it was like, whoa, this is crazy.
That's so much,
here,
right?
Like anti-Semite of the year, not literally, but like he's written about me all the time. So I'm just over here like hiding my face, eating my eggs, like, please don't recognize me.
Well, it's so funny because I just went and signed up for a new boxing gym.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to a guy, and he's definitely from a different culture. He's got intense energy. So I'm signing up for the month. It's month to month. And I'm just looking around at all the pictures, and I start seeing Stars of David. I'm like, oh no. And then not that, because my girlfriend's Jewish. I don't care, but like, if I'm training in this gym ran by Israelis and they find out how critical I am of Netanyahu and Zionism, I'm going to get knocked the fuck out before they even let me leave, dude.
You'll get real good training, though.
Yeah, I will, dude. Yeah,
real good hands-on training. Self-defense for real.
So I love everything you put out, because you're really good at kind of like not sticking to one note. I think some people get lost in a note, and at some point you get like, dude, I get it, but there's other things going on here. One of my favorite videos, because I love to take your videos and do deep dives on them. One of the things I really liked is your McDonald's ice cream video, and I don't know if that got as much love as it should get, because it answers all the questions, which is, why are these motherfucking machines always broken?
Yeah, dude. I love that one too, because like, it's such a simple, mundane thing. And it's like a cultural meme that McDonald's ice cream machines are always broken, to the point where you would almost write it off as, oh, it's just a meme. But it actually, like, it's a real thing, and they are always broken. Why are they always broken? When you look into it, you do uncover this whole corporate conspiracy to make money by colluding between McDonald's and their, the manufacturer of these machines in order to basically have broken machines all the time in order to constantly be making money off of repair fees that the franchisees, like the regular people that are trying to run a business, have to pay. And it's just such a good example of how every corporation is not above fraud, and all the corporations around us are perfectly willing to engage in fraud to increase their bottom line. And things in our daily lives that seem like mundane memes can be linked to like legitimate conspiracies that sound ridiculous, but when you look into it, it's like, oh, how many of these are there just down the street from me?
So,
correct me if I'm wrong. They're not even. Sorry, they're not even allowed to. The franchisees aren't allowed to repair their own machines, right?
No, it's against contract, and the machines are designed specifically so it's like basically impossible to repair them yourself. It's like this archaic thing that is designed to only be interfaceable via a tech that can open the machine up and interface specially with it. And then this company developed like a supercomputing, like a little computer that you could plug into the machine and it would analyze everything and fix it for you. And then this is where it all broke, is they went after that company because they no longer needed to pay for repairs. Yeah. And so they told everyone that you're not allowed to use that machine to fix your own machines. It's bad. It's going to hurt you. It's going to blow your machine up. It's going to void your warranties. And then they worked their ways secretly into the trials for that device, and they stole one basically and reverse engineered it and then produced their own version from a company owned by the same company that makes the broken machine. So like every trick in the book.
And what it did was, correct me if I'm wrong, it made it so that the people who the franchisees could just read these inscrutable codes that it would spit out, right? Because it would spit up, Sam, like just gobbledygook. Nobody could possibly know what the error code was unless you had this, this machine that would kind of translate it into English. So you could fix it, because people could fix them if they, you had the manual. It was complicated, but you could do it if you knew what the hell was wrong with the thing. And that's all it was. And it's insanity.
So if
that company's they're litigating right now against the racketeering conspiracy because they came and tried to kill their company. And so I think their lawsuit is for like $9 billion.
Right to repair is such a big, important battlefield right now. Right to repair.
Xavier, Johnny, if you had to guess how much this company makes fixing machines every year, what do you think that number would be?
I have no idea. It's all McDonald's, though. I mean, that company wouldn't exist if it wasn't for McDonald's now, apparently.
So what do you think that number is?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I wouldn't even...
What's the number?
Million,
you put it out, how much money they make.
Yeah, the company is Taylor. I don't remember the exact number. I remember that it's anywhere different. They posted different numbers in different reports for their different annual reports, and it was somewhere between 25% and 35% of their annual revenue. So like more than a quarter of their annual revenue was coming just from...
I thought I saw a number like 55 million or $77 million.
Yeah, I think it's at least that much. I forget the exact number in millions because I forget. It's I don't want to misquote the number, but I do remember that it was more than a quarter of their revenue. And if you think about how most corporations are operating, like a quarter of your revenue is all of your profit. Like if you take away 25% of your revenue, suddenly you're underwater. Like you're no longer a profitable business. So
it's actually crazy. So the last episode we always break down the week that was, and we got into the LA fires, and Johnny and I have a kind of a different view of what is a sign that something is up. We had this guy Jim Lee on a while ago. Two of the best episodes we've ever done is Jim Lee, one time with Topher Gardner, and Jim Lee by himself. And he broke down weather manipulation. And he has a whole website that breaks down weather manipulation forever. Go. And one of the things I kind of tried to tell Rogan this, but it's like, I know information. I'm not the best at articulating information because I flunked first grade. But along the lines of, they can use high pressure, low pressure systems, and this black soot ash they throw into it, and they can create frequencies that are so specific that can take out certain things and leave other things, which is like a big part of like 9/11. There was a low frequency storm that just sat outside of New York City for a while. And they talk about that. Like, Where did the ash go? Where did the buildings go? They just dustified. Everyone's like direct energy weapons. These guys are like, we're way beyond that. So as I'm watching this video, I'm watching the local news here. I am seeing perfectly green palm trees, perfectly fine, next to Baghdad level destruction of old school houses. Now, we know new cars are all made of plastic, but they were showing old school cars that were getting jacked by this as well. So I know you just put out a video about fires and UFOs. What are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, so I just got to the area yesterday. I drove down to the perimeter this morning to see just kind of what it's like down there. And I've just been trying to dig through everything that's online, everything from like the very just grounded, rational to the like, there's a lot of theories flying around right now. Like there's multiple like UFOs that were caught on like live TV that aired on like CNN, where in the footage you can see like a ball of light like fly like it's like, what the fuck is that?
We played that in the last episode. A guy named a buddy of mine named Richard, I have him in as Richard V. Here's the video, you can watch it.
Yep. Yeah, there's two of them in this one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, one there.
Yeah.
And it also goes up and down. It just doesn't go straight. If you see it like
curves.
It curves at the right there.
And then it shoots up. Yep. And then there's another one in there. My friend Richard, I'm gonna send this to Johnny right now, and he could play it if he can.
Yeah, there's two different angles of it. That in that one you see the one really clear, and then in the other one you see that one and another one.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friend James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. The crypto markets are on fuego, and there's no better place to learn about them than copymycrypto.com. Let me tell you about James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Bitcoin just went cuckoo crazy, dude. And you know what happens when Bitcoin goes crazy? All the other coins go crazy. The meme coins, the shit coins, the cum rockets, they all go nuts, okay? Guys, it has to piss you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still done nothing, okay? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and it's really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to know a thing about crypto to make the money like so many have. The copymycrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You simply just copy along. So let me tell you about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 50,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said, okay, that one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing right now and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. Okay, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You're not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers get full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, or you can keep buying some, okay? But there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any time. Go to the site and read it. Okay. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. It ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you.
And I just want to say, Sam said we disagreed. The only thing I disagree on really is
Johnny thinks it's global warming.
Yeah, that's it. It's common throughout history, if you believe the photos aren't fake, that to see trees remaining in devastation in neighborhoods. I mean, I'm looking at photos right now of the 61 Bel Air fire. All the trees are there. Bel Air is just flattened by fire.
Yeah.
1879 Great Fire in Los Angeles, same thing. You see it over and over again throughout history.
Yeah, but Johnny,
water in them. It happens.
the notion
lasers in 1879. I mean,
yeah, Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, go back
Maybe.
on the Jim Lee's website. He has it all the way back. All the articles talking about government weather manipulation.
Yep.
I just don't.
I mean, there's a difference,
I've had
too.
a fire in my backyard where they had to cut a dirt row out here. Same thing happened. The trees, the underbrush burns. The trees are fine for the most.
I have. Let me. Can I get the? There we go. Let me show you this, Sam.
Johnny,
This is the
I
one
sent you a
Sam's
video
talking
too.
about. It's the one you're talking about. Something like this, right?
That is weird. Now this is like now.
This is paradise.
Yeah,
This is
this
the paradise virus.
That click on that picture. That's a weird picture. I'm sorry. That's a weird picture to me.
I mean, do you want me to show you the old photos I'm talking about from '61?
Yeah, but Johnny,
1889? They look the same.
Take your logic of your life, of what the experiences of your eyes, your ears.
I just told you, Sam. I've had it in my backyard. We've had multiple. I live on a farm where we have big fires in the forest out here, started by retards who throw cigarettes out. And I've seen it burn all the underbrush, burn houses, and the trees are still out there. The trees, these pine trees, they never burn. They never burn. They get
Okay, it
but
just
they-
seems crazy to me.
For me, the crazier thing was Lahaina with the blue stuff. That got me asking questions. Was all the blue shit? Because I can understand. I mean, I don't know. I'm no fucking expert, but I can understand how a tree with deep root systems and like thick ass bark, like I can understand how that would, burn differently and maybe would last through a fire if it's just lucky. But like a blue umbrella in Lahaina was like no fucking way. Like a blue umbrella in the middle of a burnt out house, like that shit got me asking a lot of questions. And
So
I haven't
this
seen
is-
anything like that here yet. But
Richard V sent me this. He and he's in my phone as Richard V with DMT because we did DMT together. And my dog wouldn't let me trip balls, kept barking, wouldn't let me drift. But if you go up a little bit,
Hold on.
yeah, here hit play, Johnny.
What-
Sorry, I didn't mean up a little bit. My apologies. Just hit play and we'll see it. So the New Jersey drones, again, we've talked about it. Well, this is now in LA.
oh, for real?
Yes, he filmed this. Again, he did DMT with me on my patio. And he just sent me this. And I told you guys when I was coming back from LAX a couple weeks ago, I saw stuff in the sky that did not move, lights. And my buddy Mike said when you look at it, it almost disappears. So I was studying it and it kind of just disappeared. So we kept driving. I looked back up after we go around the bend, bang, it's right there again. So here we are with these unexplained drones. Now they're in Los Angeles.
Yep. I mean, do you guys see the connection that got made between the Trump Hotel Tesla Cybertruck bombing and the manifesto he sent to the Sean Ryan show talking about the drones?
No, I've not seen it. I'm
layer.
questionable on Sean Ryan. Like,
Oh, I mean, Sean Ryan's an intelligence asset through and through. Whether he's
okay,
in
there we
or
go.
out,
Bang, we're in
come
it.
on,
Here we go.
like, come on. Like he was an intelligence asset, and he's having women like people like that woman from the CIA who's like the blonde woman who's like
Yeah.
like basically just a neocon war hawk who's like
Yeah.
trying to go undercover as like a regular person. It's like go fuck yourself. You're just advocating for war. But they got sent, and it like, and I got pretty deep into this story, and I talked to Shu in the background, and I got on a space with them, got to ask them some clarifying questions, and like as far as I can tell, so Shu sent me the original emails. They were sent to him by this dude, pretty certainly.
Shu's
day before this
Shu's the
bomb.
guy that was the guest on Ryan's.
Yeah, Shu
on
is
Ryan's
like
podcast, right?
he's an Instagram mostly account, but he's like a whistleblowing hub for the military. He seems like a pretty rad dude. Like I don't know his stuff before this at all, but the whole like military community has really high regard for him. And he's like a whistleblower guy. Like he is a home for whistleblowers. So he seems cool. I don't know, but he got sent this email. And it appears like the FBI admitted that it was from the dude from Levelsburger or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's a plus or a minus on his side? I don't know. But that like when the Tesla bombing thing happened, the FBI or the LVPD, they released like little manifestos in his notes app that they'd found on his iPhone that were like super unhinged, like crazy shit that basically were like, everyone stormed the Capitol. We got to take our country back. I'm going to blow myself up to get my message across. Like just really weird. Like it felt AI generated. But then this other manifesto emerged from the Sean Ryan show that he had sent the day before he did this, that talks about how he had inside knowledge about the drones, and that the drones are like an anti-gravity tech that America has, that China also has. And there's this whole like anti-gravity, like secret war going on. And it's like, and like there's so many layers of like, is it a psyop that they're using Shu, this whistleblower guy, to to put out the psyop because he's a legit guy, so they like send him this email, he's kind of mandated to like share that he was sent this email? Or is it like, are they in on it? Is it like, what the fuck is going on? It's very
best way to do it, by the way. Best way to do it is to release it to someone who has a reputation. Let them do the work for you.
Use the
Can I be honest with you, man? Very early into tinfoil hat. I mean, very early. I mean, like a year in or less. This show's 8 years old. A year in or less. I got an email from some random guy, random email that said, follow the rabbit, Sam. And it was the whole Q breakdown. And it was a Navy.gov email. So the question becomes, is that sent to me in hopes that I would take it and tell everybody else? So do I think that's possible? 100%.
Yep. Yeah, I think that people in our decentralized media space need to be very careful and thoughtful about how we can be manipulated by the powers that be and become sort of unwitting patsies in the information war, right? Like I don't know what Shu thinks happened at this point, but I think that's a pretty strong possibility that the government or someone behind the scenes here is taking advantage of just the nature of the internet to put this thing out. But at the same time, an argument could be made that they were intending for the weird manifestos from his phone to be the narrative they were going to run with, and that he had subverted them. This Green Beret guy kind of knew their tricks and had already sent this other email out, knowing that would make it out eventually.
It is interesting to me, and I don't know if this correlates, but I remember when everybody was celebrating the Israel pager attack, and they were talking about how brilliant it was. And we, on this show, I did on Ann Carolla's show, I did it on Joe Rogan's show. I go, you got to watch yourself because that stuff could easily be used against you. What they do is they get you to accept it for someone you don't like in a way that you don't like, but it's fine because you don't like them. That always comes back and used against you. And here it is, because, we had the video. When I watched the video of it exploding, at first I didn't even think somebody was in the car. I go, I don't even see anyone in the car. And then someone broke it down with arrow, and there he is.
Yep.
There's no muzzle, like there, boom, then boom.
No.
It's just boom.
No gunshot as far as I can tell. The dude
no one said that.
Clearly still on his shoulders.
And no one heard it. And that's a big ass gun. You should be able to hear that gun get shot.
It's a 50 cal. So there's definitely some lies in that narrative somewhere, like big time lies. The question is why and what for, and like, are we actually in a secret anti-gravity war with China? Like, I don't know. I think we do have anti-gravity tech. I think we are reverse engineering alien crafts or something. I think that a lot of the UAPs that we're seeing right now are not non-human. They're actually us making technologies. But I think there's probably aliens flying around out here too, or whatever, we would call aliens, whether that's future humans, whether that's interdimensional stuff, whatever it is, angels, demons, Lord knows what. But
is there any way he could be alive?
Good. This is a key question. And theoretically, the Las Vegas PD or the FBI or both said that they matched his tattoos, his dental records, and his DNA with Livelsberger and his service record and everything. And they published photos, apparently. I didn't actually check, but they allegedly published photos of his tattoos on the body in the car matched to him alive. So it sounds like the consensus right now is that he's dead. I could still see a way that he's not, but maybe it leans towards likely he is dead.
If
then
he's
it's
alive,
like,
though, you will never hear from him again.
oh, not a chance, dude. Not a chance. Like, I could see so many possible scenarios. One scenario is like he was in on it from the start. He's a Green Beret. Like, allegedly, he might have been Delta Force too. So, like, maybe he's in on this whole ploy. Or B, maybe he's like trying to whistleblow and they're coming after him and they get him and they kill him and they try to like wrap it all up and use it to their advantage. Maybe he's on the run and he realizes he's cornered and he sort of like plans this last way to like get the info out while he's they're closing in on him. Who the fuck knows?
What I find very interesting is the movie Carry On comes out on Netflix, and the whole spoiler alert. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I have to talk about it. I'm sorry about it, guys.
Good movie, by the way. I liked it. Good movie.
Well, it starts out like you're like, oh, AI wrote this. It starts out as AI wrote this. And then it ends up being a good movie. You don't realize this is how you know a movie is good is when after it's done, you're like, whoa, that was way woker than I realized when I was watching it. Right? You're like, oh shit, that was woke. Damn, I didn't even know that's how good the movie was. But within this movie, and it really struck me, is how the bad guy in the movie is the military-industrial complex. And this movie is basically they blackmail every person involved in every moment of this movie. And then bang, suddenly this comes out. And it's like, it's just eerie how it's like right around the same time. Christmas, this is Netflix attempt at is this a Christmas movie? This comes out, it's Christmas. LAX is slammed. Are they going to do this? Are they going to let this happen? Everyone's being blackmailed the whole way. It's very interesting to me.
I'm going to go watch that. I haven't seen it
TSA is the hero, by the way. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's what
TSA is the hero. I mean, nothing we've ever seen has humanized TSA and made you sympathize with them like this film. It's propaganda for TSA at some level.
That's interesting.
But it is interesting that the bad guy in the movie is the military-industrial complex, which somewhat fits into everything that's kind of being said right now. And again, my issue with Sean Ryan, I have nothing against him as a person, but the presentation of the information as ISIS is here like they are a free will organization doing everything on their own and not going. And as we know, like the United States is completely, formed, trained, armed, and funded this organization forever. The Islamic jihadists who apologize to Israel for accidentally shooting at them. That group.
Yeah, for real. I mean, Sean Ryan is a perfect example of this larger trend on social media and the internet at large right now of government officials and ex-CIA operatives and even current government and Pentagon and CIA operatives jumping into the podcasting space as though to humanize the agency and to humanize the intelligence community as though it's all, and it's a wise move. It's the right move for them to do is just send our people out there to talk and demystify this whole thing. And then it sort of puts podcasters in a catch-22 where it's you want to have the expert on and this guy was a CIA operative for 30 years. He's going to spill all the beans. But then it's how do you control against them spinning narratives? And even if say Andy Bustamante, the CIA spy with all the hair
guy.
Yeah, the guy with the herbal essence hair that's everywhere.
That guy. Imagine that he's totally legit and a great dude and actually had a long career with the CIA and generally tried to do a good thing and is actually out here in the world giving genuine information. He's not even trying to lie to anyone. But he could have a curtailed view of the CIA, or he could have information fed to him. He could live in a limited hangout of the CIA and then get sent out to communicate that limited hangout of the CIA to us. And it's happening all across social media. And Sean Ryan's podcast is one example of it. But there's tons and tons of people in the space that are sort of part of this trend of the military-industrial complex jumping into the alternative media space. And people aren't seeming to notice it enough.
It kind of reminds me of Bob Lazar, where you think, they let Bob Lazar say those things. If you think Bob Lazar, they just let him say those things. It's how I feel about the CIA agents. They're just letting them say these things. Because if you said anything crazy, they'd go and pick your head off and they'd kill you.
Yeah. And it's also that the biggest thing I've learned doing this show is like everything is data. Everything is data gathering, and who is hackable, who is programmable, who is charismatic, who has that kind of what I call the Elvis factor, where people just want to like get behind them and follow them. Who are these people? And you just see where like you just see these people who get real nice real estate on YouTube.
Yeah.
All have these intelligence backgrounds, and you're like, they studied you. They knew that you connect with people. You're entertaining. You have a very unique way of disseminating information. We're gonna nudge you into these things. Hey, man, you should maybe do a show where you interview OnlyFans stars and tell them they're stupid whores.
Bingo.
You know,
Whatever is such a plant, dude. Whatever is so obviously a plant. Oh my god.
And
But you don't
maybe the puppet thinks he's a real boy at some point. Oh, boy, but the real estate comes from you worked at this intelligence agency. They studied data on you. They know a bunch of stuff. Are you a pussy hound? Do you have certain views? Will you cause chaos in the culture? Are you a good interview? Are you charismatic? Hey, man, let's push you into this genre of content creating, and we're going to make calls, and YouTube is going to give you prime real estate on the front page. You know, like, remember, Johnny, we used to talk all the time that Lex, we couldn't get away from this guy.
Oh my
Lex
god,
Friedman.
Lex Friedman. Like,
Fucking robot.
this AI robot is like every other video being pushed on me on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Charisma.
I mean, zero charisma. The charisma to fame ratio has never been more out of balance than it is with Lex Friedman, I have to say. And he seems
Yeah, I
like a
was so
perfectly
confused
nice
by that.
guy. But
Perfectly nice. Like, I don't know him. I have no reason to dislike him, but it's
Totally.
also like, where's this coming from and what is going on?
You don't think it's working though? Because I mean, like Johnny said, it's got all
Totally
the podcasters divided up. Some people think Ryan's good. Some people think it's a psyop. So now it's kind of like they're
Totally.
winning because Johnny said it's got everybody fighting in the group, and at least with tinfoil hats. Some people
Yep.
are like, "Yo, no, he's legit," and other people are like, "No, it's a psyop," and it's just like now they're winning.
To me, none of them are legit until they talk about the dancing Israelis live on the Once you mention the
Respect.
dancing Israelis and you ask those questions, I will feel comfortable saying that I know you're not.
That's how you gotta give Marin some,
But-
from Fresh and Fit. He's kind of burning it all
dude.
down.
Yeah, he doesn't fuck around. Myron does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I disagree with a ton of his opinions, but like, he does not give a shit, and he clearly is his own actor. He's clearly not working for
Well,
the
I
Secret
mean, like he
Service still.
was NSA, and again, it becomes a time where maybe he's like, "I'm a real boy," and then he just goes off and does his own thing, and you know, it's just interesting to me. But again, they're always like, "Hey, man, how can the left get their own Rogan?" Well, it's gonna be real hard. They're trying to make Kelsey's wife that, and everyone's going nuts because she's beating Rogan in rankings, but they don't know how rankings work.
Yeah,
It's much easier for a brand new show to beat a show that's been around for 15 years. It's really easy. All you just need to have a bunch of subs and you just shoot right up. But
Yeah, I don't even
new
know who you're
reviews.
talking
New reviews
about.
matter more than anything, especially on Apple. New reviews is what any show with any kind of following will shoot past the more established show with far more listeners just on the basis of reviews alone, which can be gamed. It's so easy, dude. There are these Chinese farms that game that whole system, and if anything coming in with corporate backing is going to shoot to the top.
Like Hawk Girl, for example.
What'd you say?
I mean, that's the
Like Hawk
craziest
Girl.
one at all. I mean, like it's so crazy to me what that represents. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it was so educational for all of us, I think, because we all kind of knew that they were selling us sex and empty bullshit entertainment. But to watch her come to fame from that clip and then get scooped up clearly by someone else behind the scenes, get fed a bunch of money and fed a bunch of guests, like big, high profile guests, for zero talent, for zero purpose other than that she was affiliated with this like hookup culture, like deep throat meme. That was just so blatantly in our faces this is how they feed you trash down your throat. And the way that story ended is hilarious. You guys know about the crypto scam and
of course, man.
20 days. And yeah, it's just like, I'm hoping that people are paying enough attention, gathering data on our end, that we can start to learn how this happens so that we can spot it the next time.
I think they're going to use that Hassan Piker as their little Rogan guy. You know who that is?
No, he's been around too long, dude. He's been around way too long.
I've just been seeing him more lately, and I'm like, dude, they're going to try to use him.
There's too much footage of him saying ridiculous communist shit for it to go anywhere. We won't know who the person is.
You're not a leftist if there's not a bunch of footage of you saying ridiculous communist shit.
Right. I just don't know if they'll be able to get. I mean, Rogan is a very specific thing that I could sit down and tell everybody why, because he's a good friend of mine. And I just like, he's the face of two things that didn't exist 30 years ago, which is UFC and podcasting. And those kind of came together and blew the fuck up, you know? But what's very interesting to me is this thing that they used to talk about Epstein and how he was a switcher. Yeah, meaning he was a different person to different people. He was whatever you thought he acted to you however he thought you needed him to act for him to gain your trust. And that's what I kind of felt what the Haktua girl did. Because if you see her, she's like, "Hi y'all. Hey, I'm just a dumb country girl who just loves spit on dicks. Damn, let's have a fun interview." Right? And then when CoffeeZilla kind of presses everybody, you see her kind of flip into this, you know, which white girls love to do, which is sassy black chick, where they, who you talking to? You know, they flip into this other character, and she goes, "Then why you here?" You know, it's like, what character just entered your body? Because 2 seconds ago you were cutie, you know, and now you're My Little Pony, and now you're sassy. It was like, and then at the end, when she got, "All right, y'all, I gotta go to bed," and you're like, "Oh, you just switched again."
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I
mean, that's like a thing we do to ourselves too. Like living in LA, you can see it all the time where like anyone that and it happens around fame is like people that get success from being anything but their authentic self. It teaches them in a repeating way that like you need to be this other thing in order to keep that success. And I think that our world and the internet and the online space in general, like there's a whole bunch of people that make it because of just what they're doing and who they are. And they're fun to talk to because they're like regular people. And then there's a whole bunch of people that when you talk to them, you're like, this is an act. Who are you? What's going on? And I think that it's the self-reinforcing cycle of like, if you get your fame off of anything other than who you are, it incentivizes you to keep on being not who you really are and just sort of like become the act that got you there in the first place.
Hey guys, the economy is cuckoo crazy. All right. Who knows what's going to happen with the fiat dollar? That's why you got to hedge your bets, and you got to go to our good friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. Get into the precious metals business. It's a great way to stabilize your investments. So let me tell you about Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. Trust me, because if you're paying attention, you know the de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver have been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all precious metals. All things precious metals. I love it. I am part of the Wolf Pack. Every month I have precious metals sent right to my house, and I love it. See, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver is veteran owned and A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small. You can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolfpack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. As little as $50 a month, you can have precious metals. You start loading it up, man. By the end of the year, you'll have a good chunk of precious metals. Dude, it's crazy. You just go to samtripoli.gold. You can see all the different plans they have. Man, it's like $50. Lone Wolf, Warrior Wolf, $125. Alpha Wolf is $250. And it just keeps going up. Sent to your house. Right there. It's that simple. It's that simple. Easy peasy. Get in, get out, get your gold, get your silver. I love it. I'm doing it. Dude, I'm telling you. All of these affiliates I use, and I use Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. I use it all the time. It's real simple. So if you want to get in, this is how you do it. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So here's what I need you to do, okay? Go to samtripoli.gold, promo code tinfoil at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. That's right. And remember, in a world of bulls and bears, be the wolf. Hey guys, it's early in the January and it's already chaos, okay? I mean, who knows? We got all this. We got UFOs. We got explosions. Who knows? By the time February hits, aliens will be here and you're going to have to defend yourself and you're going to have to wear gear that lets you move to kill, okay? And that's why, guys, I wear true classics. You know why? Because I ain't afraid to roundhouse kick a mofo in the head. You want a New World Order puppet? Huh? Zombie apocalypse scumbag? Take this foot right to your half-eaten nose, okay? And I can only do that with true classic. True classic makes me look good while I'm on the go when I'm trying to be a man on the run for a crime I didn't commit, okay? That's basically it. When I'm living that Rambo lifestyle, the only place that makes me feel truly American is True Classic. And their shirts fit my bad angles, okay? For a man who is fighting for what is right in this world, I have some of the worst angles ever. Everyone else is just juice to the gills, hard nipples, zero body fat. Not this guy. I got udders, okay? And thanks to True Classic, I don't have to worry about it. Okay, because it makes me feel good. So whenever you want active gear for active guys fighting for their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, you got to go to True Classic. They got everything. Underwear. I mean, dude, I never wearing jeans again. I will go to my next wedding in True Classic. I ain't even kidding. Okay? Underwear for your giant balls, okay? You got a Mr. Snuffleupagus down there, and you got to move. Something's got to hold it in the right place, okay? And you got shirts, you got T-shirts. There's no better T-shirt in the world than a True Classic T-shirt, guys. And that's why you guys got to go to the website. You got to get your gear for active ass kickers, okay? You want to be a street fighter. You also want to look good. You want to fight and you want to pick up chicks. And there's no better place to do that than at True Class. So here's where I need you to go. I need you to go to trueclassic.com/tinfoil. That's right. That's trueclassic.com/tinfoil. Get it in gear. Look great. No matter what your angles are, you can make love to women way out of your league thanks to True Classic. There's nowhere better to bang top shelf bitches than trueclassic.com. And let's say you got a girlfriend or a wife and you just want to keep making love. You want to go to Pound Town. You want her to not get over you. Guess what? True Classics lets them know you're in it to win it and you're the heavyweight champ, okay? And she's about to go 10 rounds with the best. We thank True Classic for sponsoring this show. So here's what we need to do. Start the New Year's off with clothing that actually fits right. Just go to my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/tinfoil to save. Okay, that's trueclassic.com/tinfoil. Dude, trust me on this, guys. You want to look good. You have to look good. And True Classic is the best way to do that. All right, guys, real quick. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We're live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Go to samtripoli.gold. Use the promo code tinfoil, and you can get precious metals sent to your house for as little as $50 a month. Join the Wolfpack. Guys, I am so excited. First of all, we got to say thank you to everybody in Spokane. You came out in force, and we appreciate you. It's one of our favorite clubs to do tinfoil hat at. And if you want to see me live, go to samtripoli.com. Going to be in Batavia on the 23rd through the 25th, and then going to be in Columbus, Ohio at the Funny Bones on the 6th, Pottstown, PA at Soul Joe's on the 7th, and Morristown at the Dojo of Comedy with Eddie Bravo Xavier Guerrero, all 3 dates of that. And then at the end of the month, I'm at the House of Comedy in Phoenix, Arizona. All right, let's get back to Ian Carroll. Yeah, it's very weird. And it's like, I've seen it happen in comedy, man, where I see young comics who I really think are great writers, and they show up and they're saying some dark, edgy shit. And then one day they show up and it's totally different kind of act. And it's just like, what's up with women? Why do guys do this? What's up with Starbucks? And it's just like somebody whispered something somewhere. And I'm not mad at them. I'm just mad at society because we keep getting shocked that we fall for liars. We don't want the truth. We want comfortable lies all the time. And it just happens. Like, how many times we see these feminist men like just regurgitating women are strong, all the on our timelines, and then it turns out they're rapist motherfuckers who are just scumbags.
Yep. Or people going after the pizza gators as fucking unhinged conspiracy theorists and then getting busted for having a fuckload of child porn or whatever.
So crazy to me.
Dude. And I mean, it's no surprise, really, once you like look around, but yeah.
Well, it's also that, like, it's like, Me Too is kind of like on its last leg. We got this Blake Lively thing going on right now that probably most people in the show aren't paying attention to, but it resonates with me because it's, again, an unmasking of what to me is a psyop to drive a wedge between the sexes.
Yep.
And to weaponize our relationship. And here we are, a woman by all accounts is not fun to work with, isn't a nice person. You see it in interviews where she barks at people and all this stuff. This is Sam speaking, nobody else. And then she has this movie she made, and she comes out and she Me Too's this guy. And everybody runs with it. Everyone's like she's a victim. Everybody's like she's just Bambi, and he's a big bad wolf, and she just wants to live her life and live her dreams. And it just turns out that she's a complete utter psychopath, because that's almost what it takes to get to that position. This cutthroat mentality that seems to be even worse in women because it's not in their natural drive. And I'm not saying that women can't run businesses or be leaders or anything like that, but let's face it, women tend to go into the more emotive careers. Doctors, therapists, nurses, teachers. These are things that we see predominantly women are in. And now you get this situation where you're in this cutthroat business, and there can almost like Highlanders, there can be only one, and then this unmasking moment comes where it just gets you. You've eaten too much land. You got nowhere else to go, and now it comes out that you're kind of a psychopath, and it's just really sad because like people's lives get destroyed, and then we go, oh no, she was totally lying.
Yep. Not only do people's lives get destroyed, but also like actual allegations get muddied. Like now, like all the Diddy and Jay-Z allegations are muddied by the fact that we have fake accusers out there. Yesterday, Sam Altman's sister officially filed her lawsuit, accusing him of raping her all through her childhood. And it's another example where it's like kind of hard to tell. Like, I'm inclined to believe her, but the internet is really quick to be like, nah, she's a psycho with like problems. And so it's like, this is kind of a big deal. We should get to the bottom of whether the dude that founded the AI company that's going to rule our lives and teach our children and run our government, did he rape his child's sister when she was a 3-year-old until she was a 12-year-old? Kind of a big deal. And we don't really have a way to get to the bottom of it. And it's easier and easier for Sam Altman to just kind of paint it over as like, oh, she's just crazy. Our hearts go out to her. Because it's like, sometimes people are just crazy. And that just fucking muddies all the water for all these actual really fucked up allegations that we need to get to the bottom of in order to uncover some dark shit going on.
That's some really dark shit. And it just gets again into this level of psycho that we've seen from these actresses like Amber Heard and the Me Too movement in general, but their lack of concern for pedophilia. Like to completely and utterly like have no comment on it at all the Me Too people not to say anything about this rapid just everywhere at every door of power there seems to be pedophilia. That is the way to unlock that door, is to be controlled.
Yep.
And
you said it right there too. For people that aren't quite with what you're saying here, Sam, it's important to like iterate. It's so you're controlled, right? There's no better person to give a bunch of power to than someone that you know you have the ultimate trump card on. Like ultimate blackmail is some form of pedophilia or sadistic fetish or something that you know about and have on camera. Then it's like, yeah, give them all the power in the world because their power is your power because you control them completely, right?
And if you doubt it, just look for the examples in your everyday world, like gangs. I mean, gangs, they're beat-ins, and they make you, a lot of them, even still now, it's a thing they try to keep hidden, but they make you commit a really horrible crime in lots of cases, especially the LA gangs, because it's blackmail is really what it is. It's, we're all in this together. We've done this horrible thing. We do these horrible things. Is that really strange? Because if you strain to think that that's happening, just look for the examples that are completely plausible. We know they happen.
I mean, it's straight up alleged in the big Diddy lawsuit with Lil Rod that was how he was offering Lil Rod a Grammy or a Grammy, I'm pretty sure, and a bunch like a whole bunch of deals and stuff if he would have gay sex with them, which was going to be on camera, though that wasn't explicitly stated. And then because he didn't, then it all blew up and he's like, peace out. And they didn't even pay him. And like that allegation is repeated over and over and over. And it's no secret why that works. Like organized crime does it. Gangs do it. The government does it. Makes perfect sense.
Invite somebody to a party, slip him a drink, something, knock him out, wakes up next to a little naked girl or a dead boy or something like that.
Yep.
And now you're compromised.
Yep. And that's where, like, total left turn here, but that's where I get real fascinated by Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump was raised by the blackmailers. Like, Roy Cohn was deep in the blackmail circuits of the 40s, 50s era. And Roy Cohn was, like, Trump's mentor growing up. Trump called him every day. Trump knew all about the blackmail industry. He was friends with Epstein back in the day. He was friends with all these people. He became a successful property developer. But Trump doesn't drink or do drugs or any of that shit that could get you into that kind of trouble. And then we wind up when he's like president, they're working for like 4 years to make up blackmail about him that doesn't exist. And to me, that's clear evidence that it doesn't really exist, or at least that they don't have it. Because if they did have it, they wouldn't have to make up this crazy fucking thing about a Russian pee-pee tape or something. Like, I don't know what the story is with him. I kind of get the sense that he used to be a blackmailer, or he like had some sort of connection to the blackmailers. But like, because most people that get to that level of power, it's because someone's got some blackmail on them, because that's how doors get open for you in those spaces.
Right. He knew all the steps before they did it on him.
Yep, exactly. I mean, that's the best I can explain it, is that he knew their game and they couldn't, and therefore he's the only politician that can actually play his own game. At least not literally the only one, but like largely the only one. Whereas you look at Elon Musk, and Elon Musk does not seem to be uncontrolled. Elon Musk seems to have multiple people that have a lot of power over him, that he can go do his own thing until he gets a call from certain people. And then it's like, actually, buddy, we're going to go this direction.
Let's reel you back in.
What did you say about Elon?
Does Elon drink? Because you mentioned about Elon
no does all kinds of shit. I've never seen him talk about it publicly, but like I know from firsthand accounts that he goes to Burning Man and that he like he's got a serious thing for knocking up all kinds of chicks. Like if you just look at women, I know, right? Like, but we don't all have billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. And if you like look at his taste in women, it's like, I mean, I'm being a little over prescriptive here, but speaking from experience, when you're like into crazy ass weird chicks, that's indicative that you're into all sorts of crazy ass weird shit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm a fucking weirdo too.
As long as not hurting people, in particular kids, I don't care what you do.
Bingo. Do your fucking thing.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
And as far as I can tell, Elon does not seem to be into like nasty fucking dark ass shit, but like who knows? But it does seem like there are some people with some power over him, whether that's because of money or it's because of blackmail or it's because of allegiances or favors. I don't know. But Trump seems a little more unhinged than Elon. And I don't love a lot of Trump's ideas. I think Trump's fucking weird. And like
this North American Union thing.
Dude, it's weird.
It's a horrible idea.
There's some real good tinfoil coming out about Greenland, though, and like both secret underground technologies and bases and mineral deposits in Greenland that is looking real on point. Yeah, I'm gonna be digging into that.
But this also fits into the Club of Rome and their view that this is one area that they want to be a giant clump. Like, this is like area North American Union. This is South American Union. This is European Union. They want to be giant clumps.
Yep. And then you can have one government rule over all of those states.
All that sounds great until you start realizing that this means they could throw out the Constitution. And that's where the danger comes in, because the First and the Second Amendment is the two important laws in the world.
Yep. I mean, I like to stay optimistic and think that the MAGA crowd, though they're doing an awful lot of like explaining away what Trump is doing right now, is like, oh, it's all good. Like, he's still totally America first. But at its core, the MAGA crowd is America first, even though they're willing to, make concessions for Trump because they need to. But if there was to be a left turn that sharp, I think that we, the people, have a momentum in a direction that you can't just turn and go the other direction. And I would hope that will hold. That being said, you would have said the same thing before the fucking Iraq war that didn't pan out so well for us. So who knows? Yeah.
Did you guys watch The Apprentice, the film about Trump and
no?
What was it like?
I mean, as cinema, it's fascinating. It is exactly what you said, though, Ian. I mean, it shows all the crazy gay sex parties that Roy Cohn would have. Like Trump walked in on one, and I'm sure that's fiction. But and Trump was just like, I mean, he did not want, he was just out of there, dude. It almost made him vomit after. It's fascinating though to see what.
I watch that.
Yeah, I recommend it. I mean, you got to come in. There's so many people who can't watch anything that's made by, if it's propaganda, you can't watch it. They're like, oh, I can't believe you even look at that. But you got to educate yourself about, I don't know. To me, that's a dumb reason.
What I do when I'm watching Hollywood movies nowadays, and I still do occasionally purposely watch Hollywood movies, but what I do is I use it not as like watch their movie, but as a creative person, I use it as like, marinate your brain in this kind of like made up space and imagine all the ways the world could be and use it as like a thought experiment. So you're not actually thinking about what they're trying to tell you. You're actually like filtering out their propaganda and thinking through like just as a way to imagine like all the ways our world could be fucked up, whether it's a spy movie or like a fucking thriller or a sci-fi. It's just like good imaginative space to be like, oh fuck, maybe the New World Order would try something like that. Holy shit!
It's rare, right? That there's not some truth in especially a film like that. There's going to be some truth in it, and mostly I think it's to do with Roy Cohn in that. I don't think you can draw much from the characterization of Trump, but the Roy Cohn thing it's fascinating and it's very well acted.
Roy Cohn.
If you don't get butthurt about Trump looking a little dumb. Which I don't even think he looks dumb. He looks like a shark in this, to me, honestly. But if you can stand that, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's January 8th. At this rate, like the Four Horsemen should be here by Friday.
Dude, I think the first one just showed up. We're we're rolling, dude.
Yeah. So. What do you think? I mean, like 2025 is a big year. There's a couple big years. Like as a man, as you grow up, 18's a big year, 21's a big year. I think the next one is like your insurance rate goes down. We have these like, as men, we have these dates that we get excited about. Yeah. But, there are like years that seem important in whether it's like predicting from back in the days, like Nostradamus and stuff like that, or the secret society years like 2030. So 2025 we had the Deagle report that somewhat's been debunked. that Deagle made a ton of crazy ass predictions that didn't come true. But the Deagle report was that the U.S. population would be 50 million by the end of the year. See, I don't think it's ever going to get that bad, but things like a World War II that devastates Europe, Mao and 100 Days of Flowers and killing off 100 million people, and Stalin. We've been very blessed that nothing like that has happened here, and I pray to God above that it does not happen. But what are your thoughts on what the next year to 5 years may look like?
I mean, I think that everyone's thinking it right now is it's just going to get crazier. And to your point here, we get lulled into this sense of security in our, late stage empire life where we've never known anything but peace in the homeland. But every empire, except for, I guess, Britain. No, that's a fucking lie. They got bombed a ton of times. Yeah. Like every empire that seemed untouchable eventually is ravaged by war, by famine, by just monetary issues. And the American Western Empire has every sign of being the end stage of its empire. Like we're not the global superpower anymore. And whether that's, monetarily, we kind of still are, though our currency is rapidly falling apart. But it's not going to last. And so what I'm trying to say is that everything is rosy till the day it's not. And you can't imagine the outbreak of World War II until the day it starts. And so I also hope that nothing happens. But at the same time, I just can't help but feel like hindsight is 2020. And looking forward right now, it feels like a pressure cooker. The thing that I'm most concerned about is it feels like the world is ready for another 9/11. Speaking specifically about Israel and their goals in the Middle East and sort of the global narrative around Israel and Palestine and the whole Middle Eastern conflict in combination with America sort of not having any central conflict or war to fight anymore. Like America kind of needs another 9/11 from the deep state's perspective too. So if I put myself in the shoes of the people that were behind 9/11 and I looked at the global stage today, it'd be like, dude, let's go. And what I worry about is that if you're in their shoes looking at the world and thinking about how do you do another 9/11 today, you got to go at least as big as 9/11, but you really should go bigger. And so I'm worried about something like a dirty bomb or something like a nuke, like a suitcase nuke on American soil, because those types of things are super hard to track. They're super hard to trace back to source. It'd be really easy to blame it on Iran, which the narrative for that is already circulating on podcasts like Sean Ryan Show. And if that were to happen, Israel gets its war with Iran, America gets its everyone comes together and goes to war with Iran, whether or not they had anything to do with it. And you break the nuclear ceiling, which I can't think of anything worse for the world and anything juicier for the warmongering neocons than to kind of take that, safety off of America and the world in general. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. I could see something going on with the drones and the alien disclosure too.
Did you think the drones were tracking something in New Jersey? Because that's how I heard about the dirty bomb the first time, that the drones were actually tracking.
That was the most of the things that I looked through. That was the most rational explanation for the drones that seemed to be agreed upon the most by experts in the drone field, experts in sort of just in those sorts of fields. That felt like what they were all agreeing on. It made sense to me. And then the moment that narrative took over online, that the drones were this idea we're talking about is that drones were scanning for nuclear material, for radioactive material, because there's allegedly maybe a dirty bomb made it into the US and they're trying to find it. And so they don't want to create a panic. So they're not telling us what's going on. But right after the internet got onto that train of thought and that started to propagate everywhere, then this little story comes out about this shipping container that arrived at port in, I think, Maryland or Pennsylvania, and it was damaged, and it had contained this radioactive isotope that's used for by dentists or in CAT scans is what it was. And they kind of played it off as oh, maybe this is the radioactive material that they were searching for. But when you look into it, that radioactive material was basically inert and not a risk at all. And to me, it felt like, oh fuck, they're on the right track. Quick, put out a story that's like a kind of a nothing burger, but it explains their thing, so we can kind of tampen that down. That's what it felt like. Whoa. And to me, that gave us that felt like more evidence that they are scanning for some sort of nuclear product or weapon. But it certainly was not a bunch of CAT scan materials. That's for fucking sure.
To you,
and to the best of my knowledge, they're still up there. Like, I've got a friend in New York that says that there's drones above his house every single day right now.
Every night, my friend in New Jersey's every night. It looks like
every night, not every day, only at night.
Can you imagine 10 years ago telling yourself the stuff that we've seen over the past 5 years?
Oh my God.
No.
I mean, just disclosure. I remember when the disclosure thing started to happen and you had the government acknowledging UAPs now for the first time, which I know that's all Psyop, but just if you had told me that like 20 years ago, I'd be like, no way, not happening.
Yeah.
And what we've seen, I mean, with the pandemic, it's just, you're right, Sam. This year must be, I mean, it feels like we're getting to some kind of
it's January 8th. It's only the 8th.
Yeah. And we haven't even like mentioned, like, we've been talking about sort of like alien disclosure and all this stuff, but like the Diddy stuff is still just warming up. And like, speaking of Hollywood on fire, like Hollywood is about to burn fucking down. If what's his name, the lawyer from Texas, Bugsby, I think, Tony Bugsby, that's got this 120 clients that are all accusing Diddy, and then Jay-Z got accused at the end of last year. Like, that is gonna absolutely obliterate Hollywood if that stuff starts coming out, and people are talking like it is going to come out.
What do you think about the Jay-Z thing? Because we kind of got into that briefly on Broken Simulation, and he had a really strong rebuttal. Like he came out,
he came out strongly in his rebuttal.
Yeah.
But like, he's a fucking liar. So Jay-Z was in Biggie's shadow back in the Biggie Tupac era. Jay-Z was like Biggie's wingman. He was just this kid, and the moment Biggie got shot, Jay-Z and Diddy rose to fame and took over the whole industry. And so when you look at Tupac and Biggie and Diddy's involvement in both of their deaths, allegedly, and then Jay-Z and Diddy, they've been best friends ever since. Like, they have been tight as fuck. They've been on all their songs. They've been hanging out at parties. They're always like, you can just follow their train back. And so you're trying to tell, like, and I'm not saying you, I mean, like, the world, like, come on, you're trying to tell me that, like, your best friend is holding these freak offs and you have nothing to do with it. Like, and then there's victims coming out and accusing you of having been there. And so his rebuttal to me read as just pure propaganda and lies. And I like the rumors on the street have all along been that Jay-Z is every bit as bad as Diddy, if not worse. Also that Beyonce is not good either, that she's involved in some way or other, as well as many, many others. So
she'd have to be complicit.
Exactly.
Things that he's done.
Well, this gets into when a predator meets you when you're 15 years old. Like, what, how much say do you have in anything?
It's a good point, because I always forget that he met Beyonce when she was 15.
And that's going to be her reasoning to getting out. I was young. I was 15. I didn't know.
Women will accept that, because you already see with this Joy Taylor and Fox Sports 1, everyone's running to Joy Taylor's defense when she literally got caught saying she was going to Me Too a guy if he gave her any shit. Even though she openly was, she basically had sex with him to move up the corporate ladder, and now she's going to say it's Me Too, and everyone will get behind. We just have these paradigms in which we think of, and we can't come to grips with that, because we transfer our views of our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters, and our daughters onto these women that we don't know. That's Hillary's whole game. Hey, Hillary's my grandma. Hillary's my mom. My mom wouldn't kill all of her bodyguards. My mom wouldn't run a giant child sex trafficking ring through her charity events. No way. My mom wouldn't do that. Why would Hillary do that? And it's just, that is the paradigms in which we think men are predators, women are prey. And
I think if Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have killed himself, Ghislaine would be out right now. If Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have killed himself, he wouldn't have got to court. I really think Ghislaine would just been like, he manipulated me too. But since he killed himself and they had to take someone down, who knows if she's in jail.
You're probably right about that. And when we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, it's important to point out that Jeffrey Epstein's entire operation was only made possible because of all of the women that were recruiting and creating the space within which the girls could get brought in and sort of manipulated into being like, okay, this is sort of normal. And the same is true in Diddy's circle. Like I assume
Oprah.
that's the role that Beyonce is playing with Jay-Z, and I'm just making that up. There's no evidence for that. I'm just,
We're fine with that in the show.
But yeah, it's always like women that were victims as children. Not all of them. A lot of them turn out okay, heal, and move on, but some of them turn into abusers themselves. And that power, it's more often about power than about sexual gratification. But like women do that shit too. And Jeffrey Epstein's network is the perfect example of how without the women that do it helping, the whole thing falls apart, because the women are like the bread, the glue that ties it all together and that bring the victims in and that sort of like make it all, because you would never think that a woman would be doing that kind of shit. And so when you're 14 and this woman is like, oh, it's totally fine, come give him a massage, it's totally normal, no problem, that totally changes the game.
No, that's what messed him up. That 14-year-old would go get other 14-year-olds, and then finally, why does
It's
one
not even
14-year-old
like
have
that.
$500?
It's not even like Oprah. Like,
yeah,
Oprah is
Oprah's
just
dark.
full on best friends with every one of these people that have been accused of unholy shit. Like every school she opens is just riddled with scandals of pedophilia left and right. And there's only so much, denying you can do, plausibility, before you start going, once, twice, maybe, but every time, all the time.
Dude, I didn't even know how bad Oprah was until I was doing a presentation, and I like promised a presentation about Hollywood, and that like figured Oprah is on the list. And I started looking into it and just like, fuck, John of God, like, and then you meet a Marina Abramovich, and then it just like goes on and on and on and on, and her school. And I had no idea how much Oprah had been into. I just knew it was kind of a meme, so I assumed there was dirt there. It goes deep. It's dark. John of God.
It goes super
rabbit
deep.
hole.
What is that one guy who ran a record label? Gotti?
John Gotti.
He has that famous like picture where like Tom Hanks and Oprah are there on his boat.
Yeah.
The guy who ran the record label Gotti, whatever.
Are you talking about Geffen? Are you talking about Geffen?
Geffen,
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah.
Now Geffen,
David Geffen.
Geffen, there's all this crazy stuff where he would just like do tours of campuses trying to find like the latest talent, and some twink would just come up dead all the time. Just a traveling murder circus.
He's like openly gay, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
But he's like a like predatorial, like.
Oh no,
like,
I'm not saying. But I was trying to remember if he was gay. I think he is.
Like there are people putting him like having deep connections to the smiley face killer.
And then he co-founded Asylum Records is what he decided to call it. Nice, bro. Yeah, I mean, the whole music industry is like deeply mob linked from the founding, like from the outset. The whole music industry is laundering mob money and using the mob as its muscle to sort of control the game. And to this day, you look at the music industry and it has all the hallmarks of still being the exact same operation as it was 40, 50 years ago.
But the funniest thing, Ian, is the sales pitch that Hollywood did to convince us it was the Italian mob that was running everything, when in reality it was the Jewish mob that was in everything that let the Italian mob take all the heat from the FBI. I mean, Israel's directly related. I mean, the government is formed from Meyer Lansky's crime syndicate.
Yeah,
and a
they
terrorist
gave them all
group.
the guns to found Israel. Like they were like that part of the history. When I talk about Israel and why I oppose the whole state of Israel, not just what they're doing right now, that's where I go first. Because like when you actually look at how Israel was founded, it was a bunch of fucking mobsters arming a whole bunch of terrorists to kill a bunch of civilians, British civilians too. Like they bombed Brits. And like the what you're saying about how they have obfuscated the difference between the Jewish mob and the Italian mafia is a mind, like most people in the regular world don't even realize there's a difference between the two. And most people don't even really realize that the Jewish mob existed, though it was by far the most powerful. It was the one that had the blackmail. They were the ones that got the blackmail on J. Edgar Hoover. And then they went to the mafia and were like, hey guys, we run the show now. Do you want in on this action?
Yeah.
But then Hollywood, which is founded by the Jewish Hollywood was founded by Jewish people, not contentious, because New York kicked them out. Because New York, where the cinema world was like, fuck you, Jews, you can't be here. So they all went to Hollywood and founded Hollywood. And then Hollywood, ever since, has been largely Jewish controlled. And when you look at how many movies have been made about the Jewish mob, it's almost zero.
It's almost zero.
Yeah. And growing up, like, I had no idea there was a Jewish mob. I had no idea that Jews could commit crimes. But like, ever since Jews got off the boat, and not all Jews, of course, not all Jews, like not all Italians, duh. But like, ever since Jews got off the boat, a bunch of them were scrapping and doing organized crime shit, as anyone would do when they're an immigrant in a new land trying to make their way in fucking New York City. It just turns out that they're really fucking good at it.
No, they're really great at it because there's cover being ran left and right. And
I mean, it doesn't hurt when you're of the same religion, race, nationality, whatever you want to call it, as the Rothschild banking family, and they're like very into promoting Jewish causes. Doesn't hurt.
Well, my whole opinion, Ian, is that, and you've gotten into a little of this, but, like the Bank of England, and then above the Bank of England is the black nobility.
Yeah.
And their old banking family. So you dance with the family in which we do not speak of on the internet, because we got lit up every time. And when you did a story on them, I commented, hey man, we don't talk about these people. Bad things happen. And I think right after that, some TikTok shit happened to you right after you went after. Because
is that the timing of that? You might be right, dude.
Right after that.
I'm gonna go back and look at that. I think you're right. That was my first really big coordinated TikTok attack, where multiple creators from all around TikTok all found the same 2 videos of mine and put together the exact same hit piece all at once. It was intense.
And when we did the story with Mel K, people sent me like tweets from people that have that last name going, nobody talks about my family. I'm like, damn, dude, damn. But you got into it, and you really do great research. I don't know how you fucking have time to do it, but you do really in-depth research into Bank of America, because what everybody thinks is that Chase Bank is the Godzilla of all this stuff. And what I've learned is they get you looking over here, like we talked about with the Italian mob.
Yep.
Now they got you looking at Chase Bank as these big bad people. And it's really this other one that's really crazy. And Bank of America connected to this kind of Italian bank, which to me gets into the black nobility, the old Rome banking families that I think go all the way back to Babylon. That's why, like, when people are like Jew World Order, I go, I think they're middle management, man. And I think, because when we get into the Talmud, it's like the Babylonian oral history of the rabbis. Once you see Babylonian, that tells me that there's something else at work personally. But man, when you start talking about the Bank of America and its giant, how much it, Merrill Lynch owns BlackRock, but then Bank of America owns giant chunks of Merrill Lynch. Like, it was such a great video. But yeah, man, I mean, like, that's what it's just like. Even because when you bring up Israel and the British, I go, was it the Israelis manipulating the British, or the British manipulating the Israelis for the Bank of England so that they could control this trade route, which is what Khazarians have always done for thousands of years? And then you study Saudi Arabia, the head, we had Jay Dyer on. He dropped a major bomb, which changed the paradigm, which is the first king of the House of Saud was a British spy that was planted in there. Yeah. So like the British,
I gotta look that up.
Took over Saudi Arabia, because if you control Saudi Arabia, you control Mecca, which controls, the Muslims. And then you kind of get into like, why does America have to buy oil from Saudi Arabia? Oh, this is how you control the Saudis. By constantly buying their oil, they have to kind of do what you want, even though they act like they're the top shelf of the whole thing. We kiss their ass, but in reality, the top people are like, hey, dude, this is what we need you to do. You're fucking gonna do it. Drop some bombs on Yemen because we want Yemen too, and all that stuff. But can you kind of get into that, like the Bank of America and the BlackRock and all that stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of BlackRock and like this whole look over there, not over there thing, that exact vibe is what I get when you look at BlackRock versus Vanguard. And I don't know, but I know that I rose to fame rapidly just off of BlackRock conspiracy videos because everything was pushing BlackRock conspiracy videos. You're allowed to talk about BlackRock all day long. They don't give a shit. BlackRock is like their sacrificial lamb. And one of the trains that I did on BlackRock was like, who really owns BlackRock? And you can't, on most ownership sheets, when you look it up, you don't see Merrill Lynch at the top because they own so much of BlackRock that they're considered an insider, not an institution. But they own something like 45% of BlackRock or something. There was a merger thing that happened back in the day. And Merrill Lynch is owned by Bank of America. So there's this chain of ownership that leads to Bank of America owning Merrill Lynch, owning the vast majority of BlackRock. And then when you get into, I don't even know how I got into the Bank of America back to the P family rabbit hole that I did, but somewhere digging through, I think it was that someone else had put me on the P family and I had learned about their history in North Carolina, I think it is. And then when I got to the Bank of America Wikipedia page, I noticed that one of the two banks that merged to become Bank of America was like the National Bank of North Carolina or whatever it's called. I forget the names. And I was just kind of like, that's weird. Like, let's look into that. And I think it's just like the accumulation of like, once you do one dig, the next dig is a little deeper. And once you do 100 digs, you've got like all this texture that you just start to notice connections you didn't notice. And I'm preaching to the choir here because you guys have been doing this way longer than me. But I like once this became my full-time job and I just like, and partly I don't run a podcast. So like, I don't have to talk to people. I don't have to like edit anything. I don't have to do any of this other stuff. I can just research all the time. And it started adding up really fast. And especially once I started taking notes, I was able to, now I can like go back and refer to my notes and like dots start to connect pretty quickly. And I definitely, most of the time I have no fucking clue what's going on. Like these fires, no idea, not even the slightest, but it's all data, like you were saying before. But like in the reverse, we're all getting data from everything that happens. And I try not to make my mind up too much. Like, I don't know if it's this or that. I don't know if there's an Illuminati or if it's like black nobility or if it's like Satanists or what it is. But I'm watching and getting data on all the possibilities. And it kind of is constantly reinforming what comes next.
And it's crazy. And it's like, are they taking their shot? Very early on in the show, the Q phenomenon was going on. And one of the things I said about Q was that it could be the elites telling us everything because they're just going to hit the reset button. And it somewhat turned out to be that in a weird way with COVID and the burning down of everything. And, Hillary Clinton, whatever she does. And there's another thing, like, how many 3D, 5D, 10D chess we're going to do? Like, you could go like, oh, Putin is battling the deep state, or is he helping to ethnically cleanse Ukraine? Because that's a big thing going on right there. Is he helping them to clean out that thing so they can return back to where they wanted to be? Because he is ethnically Jewish. And is he Khazarian? Does he have Khazarian roots? Is he helping them do that? Because the invasion into the Ukraine kind of happens right after COVID starts to wane, and everyone's like, hey, man, what just really happened? Let's have a discussion. I goes, oh, Putin's in the Ukraine now. So it's like, and we all know he rose to power after the Chechen theater massacre, in which he basically false flagged it because he was losing the election. And he had to get the Clintons' approval to run Russia. So it's interesting to me, like how many D chess are we in on all of this?
And with every single conspiracy theory, everything that happens, there's always this moment where you go to like the third, fourth, fifth dimension of what's going on. And at a certain point, I think we all have a different threshold for like evidence where you get to a point where you're like, is that next layer real or am I going too deep? Like, is it all the Jews or is it like just those ones? Like, is it the Khazarian? Like, is the Pope really in on this or not? And that's where I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. But
When do you
like
step
to
back?
go-
When is a moment where you step back and you're like, okay, that's way too far for me?
For me, it's about when the earth turns flat. For me, that's when I like step back and I'm like, but I listen to them. Here's the thing is like, even with flat earth as a good example, like I fucking listened to flat earthers. I went and lived with a flat earther for a month and a half because it was like great. Dude,
That's so funny.
And
you
like,
just go live with people.
Yeah, dude. And like
yourself.
The discussions you have with a flat earther are so refreshing because there's like completely unbound by all of these like
physics
that kind of hold it by physics. And so for me, I get to the line where I'm like, I think beyond that, I think we're definitely out of reality, but I'm going to go a few layers deeper just so I know what everyone's throwing around out there. Like, because maybe it'll, even if it's not true, maybe it'll inform me on the next thing. Or maybe like that was at like, I think there's some of these where psyops get fed in. And I kind of think flat earth might be one of those, but if you go a few layers deeper and you find where it's like, oh, this is a fucking psyop getting fed to us to try to just confuse this narrative, then the next time, because you went that deep the last time, you're already ready for seeing those kind of signs.
Anything that is that divisive, I have questions about immediately. Anything, especially in our community where we're torn and where like that gets people emotional in their feelings instantly. I'm like, we need to reevaluate this and really consider, because
you should always have your head in the swivel.
Yeah,
you should
don't
always
identify
have your head
with
in
your
the swivel.
ideas. Your ideas aren't you. If someone
And you should be
disagrees
open-minded
with you, they're not attacking you personally.
Dude, I could not say that enough fucking times. And I think the way that I see it is that there's like information in our space, and then there's sort of like values and technique. And I think that information comes and goes. Who fucking cares what this psyop is and what this event is, and who cares the truth of these fires? Like, yeah, it matters, but it's all going to pass into the past. But the values and techniques that we as a community kind of live by and hold, that's how we gain ground. And if the more of us, as this is one good example that you just brought up, was like, the more of us in this decentralized media space that hold the value that you are not your ideas and you don't need to get emotional about it, you don't need to take it personally, and you can just talk about ideas, we become more and more immune to psyops, and we become more and more actionable and more resilient when they try to emotionally control us. And so I try to really focus on in the background, like, what are those values that are just inherently positive for us to adopt? Like, what are the ways that I can do my job that will never lead me astray? Like asking questions, never a problem to ask questions. And I try to hone in on those and get really good at those. And I think that one you just brought up is one of the biggest ones, that like, you're not your ideas. You can change your mind. You can be fucking wrong. Does not matter. You can talk to people that think different things. Does not mean you're a different person.
So, one of the things I learned in this journey that I've been on with this show is that conspiracy tends to lead to spirituality.
Yeah.
You tell us, you don't have to tell us whatever you want, but are you on that journey? Is that
Big
part
time.
of your journey?
Yeah, big time. It started leading me there like 6 months ago, which I mean, like, I'm brand new in this journey. So like, it happened pretty fucking
crushing
quick.
it.
Yeah, but so it was when I started to research child trafficking and human trafficking, and inherently then research satanic ritual abuse, researching all the darkness that comes with that, researching the music industry, and noticing how seriously some people out here are taking Satan. I was like, okay, well, there's something really, and also like noticing the weird like Jewish Christian conflict that's been going on for Lord knows how long. All those things started to get me just thinking like, maybe you should dig into this and figure out what's going on there. And at first, like, and so then I went and lived in Idaho with a super Christian family to try to adopt, like, to absorb and learn as much as I could.
I love that, dude. I love what you're doing.
And it was great. I fucking love those guys. But inherently for me, what I need to do is I need to like understand, how do we know something? And so lately what I've been doing a lot of is a bunch of like heresy, basically, and researching the founding documents of Christianity and sort of the original time frame right around Jesus's life. Like, what did all those Christians believe before the Catholic Church? Because let's be clear, the Roman Empire took over Christianity when they normalized it and Catholicized it and canonized it. And so what was everyone believing before the Catholic Church did that? So I've been digging into a lot of the Gnostic stuff, a lot of the sort of like heretics of the early turn of the 200 to 400 AD era. And it's so interesting. And I'm kind of honing in on my own version of like God and spirituality that is the Christian thing, but it's also like kind of, I think, untethered by a lot of the dogma that the church, that like governments basically have pasted on to control everyone. And to me, science and religion are all arriving at the same thing, which is like sort of the UFO thing, sort of the alien thing, sort of the interdimensionality thing, like the physics and time travel thing. Like I think it all plays in there. But in my opinion, like all these religions are just trying to tell the same story, except for the evil ones. They're just fucking evil. But I think that's what's missing from our world. Like what really cued me into it was noticing that these kids that this family is raising, they have 6 kids and they're super Christian, super good people, not like dogmatic Christians, but like true Christians. Like dad actually is Christly. Like as fuck. He's amazing. Mom also, like their kids are all super spiritually like safe and not corrupted by all the evils of this world, and not like, they're just like good people. And it made me really realize that I think that what's missing from our kids these days is religion and spirituality, not any amount of education. Like there's no amount of education that will teach a kid about all the fucking dangerous things that are inside their phone, that'll teach a kid to not do drugs, or like, you know, not too many drugs, or teach a kid, you know, like I think that our kids need to be armed with like religious and spiritual like knowledge these days, far more than with any amount of intellectual bullshit. Like you have a fucking supercomputer in your pocket. You don't need to learn information in school. You need to learn how to become a good person and not be an evil piece of shit. Right?
Yeah, I think on the last show, I think it was with Kurt, they were talking about how they're teaching people to profit off of sin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, regardless of, you know, there's so, you know, how deep does a psyop go? Is all of this pedophilia within all these religions, whether it's Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, when you have a structure of religion, it becomes corrupted by people they position in these places, somewhat like we talked about business, if not, I mean, politics, if not exactly like that, to disconnect you from God. Yeah. Right? Hey, look at these priests, look at these rabbis, look at these, this and that and this and that and this and that. They're hurting children. Why would God allow that? Well, maybe the people that don't believe in God are positioning them there to try to disconnect you from God. And like, what God is and what the actions of men do in the name of God tend to be two different things. So as I go deeper into my spiritual journey that I'm still on, I start to realize when I do certain things or I study certain things, I'm told, hey man, you know, God says do this, this, and this. When I try to do those, my life is simple. Yep. And when I look back at so many of my problems, whether it's sex, drugs, drinking, all that stuff, so much of it extends from me just doing sinful things. Yep. Right? Ignoring how much of my problem is
that was in there being like, you probably shouldn't do that, bro. Like, probably stop. Like, that's not really going to make you your best version of yourself, bro.
How many of my problems except for my dick? I mean, it's just right there. It's like why you shouldn't lust, why you shouldn't do all that stuff. And what is Instagram? I mean, like, I forget the name of the comedian. He was just crushed it. Colin, what's his name that had a tough crowd, Johnny? Oh, you know, you can't hear you.
Colin Quinn, sorry.
Colin Quinn. He has this great bit about digital sins, all the sins, but now they're digital. And and Instagram is like 5 out of them, you know, like lust, all this stuff. Yep. And he's totally right, dude. And it's like the rules, there's different rules for different fools on these social media apps. And it's like, if you play into sin, they encourage you.
Yep.
And if you go the opposite way, they crush you.
Yep. That came up in that documentary about the Federal Reserve you were talking about at the start too, how like the monetary system in a lot of ways, not just online, but in our actual like economy and culture.
That's where I heard that line from.
Yeah. right?
Okay, that's who I heard it from. There we go.
It's like structured to incentivize sin, whether it's greed or it's gluttony or it's pride or it's lust. All of those things, you can look directly out into our economy, look at the people making the most money, and they're engaging in one of those things. And so we learn from an early age implicitly that the successful people sin, and so you should idolize that, and you should do it too. And everyone who's not going to sin is going to just live like a normal, humble, poor fucking life. And so it's sort of as this like two hells on earth, where like you're either poor and you're in your own little poor hell, or you're sinning, and so you're building your own rich hell. And neither one is like, neither one is. I mean, realistically, you don't need money in order to achieve what feels like heaven on earth. Like, you don't need money to have a good relationship with yourself and your family and to just do right, but like basically just do right by people, which feels great.
I love it. Ian, you're such a you're such a gifted content creator.
Thanks,
and
man.
You're doing great work. And it's so funny because I caught on to you and I'm like, man, we talked about this last. I'm like, this guy's everywhere, but I get it why you're everywhere, because you've mastered how to disseminate information very quickly. And, of course, everybody's calling you controlled opposition. And I go, oh, you've arrived. They call you controlled op,
Let's go.
I congratulate. I saw the Nephilim Death Squad guys just got called control opposition. I'm like, oh, dude, you guys arrived. Congratulations.
Happens to the best of us.
You made it. Just fucking people that are upset where they are in life now think you only made it because you're controlled op. Congratulations, dude. But you do great work, Ian, and you're such a
Thanks,
G. I would love if somehow, some way we could get you in studio before you go. If not, I know you're super busy. Maybe next time around we can, but man, keep up the great work. One more time, can you tell them where they can find you or whatever you want?
Yeah, follow me on X at Ian Carroll Show, and I have a website called cancelthisclothingcompany.com, which has my website has all broken links on it right now because I've been changing around all my handles and I haven't updated them all. But X is the spot because that's where speech is free. I got my Instagram here, Cancel Ian Carroll. I think I'm going to change all my handles to Cancel Ian Carroll because it's just a fun name. It's like the right name.
But I just want to say something.
Yeah.
It has negative energy.
It kind of does.
That's why I have a buddy of mine who's like not funny. I go, you're going to have people constantly saying that.
Take, bro. I've not heard this take before. I like it.
I think everything is every time you speak, you're doing a spell.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
It's everything is energy.
Our mind. Or rather, our words.
If you can just get your name, I think you should just keep your name.
Yep.
If you can just get Ian, that'll be enough.
Ian Carroll, 1984, something like that.
There
but
we go. Yeah,
that's my opinion, dude. So, Ian, thank you so much.
Follow me, and I'll definitely come hang in the studio before I go.
And the last thing is,
LA lots of times, but
you do that saloon. What do you do? A live show at that bar?
Yeah, that was when I was in Idaho. So I was living with the owner of that bar, and he's amazing. And he's such a badass and such a patriot. And he's doing this really cool merger of like the physical, kind of like a comedy club, but also like a podcast studio in the bar. So those are like live events where we would pack the room with like 100 people for a live presentation that we would also live stream. Super cool.
I think it's a great idea, man. I got to clean up my act, make it clean so I can go out there and do a show for those guys. Ian, thank you so much. Again, links below to Ian stuff. Let's break down the week. All right. So a couple things I wanted to ask you guys. So like, do you guys have an issue with the Zelensky interview by that Android AI robot host, Lex Friedman? Like, do you guys have an issue with that? Because a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't care when Joe Rogan interviewed Trump. I go, it was an election. And the problem with some people and that interview is that they see Joe Rogan as kind of like giving him a freebie. But in reality, that interview is a counter to how the mainstream media interviewed Donald Trump, right? Like we remember like the black reporter convention where she just attacks him out the gate. Now, again, I'm not saying Trump's a good guy or that we should rally behind. I do as the president, I would like to get behind him. Yeah, of course, I want him to do well. But I mean, my head on a swivel in karate stance. I mean, we're 8 days in; it's already chaos. So, of the new year, we're not even to his
Do you doubt
administration.
that Rogan would have interviewed Kamala if she'd come down to Austin?
Nah.
Like Trump did.
I think he would have.
I know he would have. I guarantee you, he would have. Of
Yeah,
course.
and he would have played ball. I don't think he would have drilled her. I think he would have had a normal conversation. How he says he would. Like he's like, I wasn't gonna sit here and to ask her about what she did in California. I was gonna sit there and just shoot the shit, ask her what her favorite wine is. That's what he said. He's like, I'm really just wanted to talk to her for 3 hours, and I think he really would have.
It would have been great. I don't think she could have won. No chance. But it would have been great for her campaign if she had gone down there and just put on if she was capable. I'm not sure she's even capable of it. But if she,
It's definitely weird, man. Like, how do you not be able to talk? And it's so funny because you see people doing Kamala Harris jokes, and it's like kind of everyone's moved on. She's kind of forgotten thought.
Yeah. And it's funny, she's still leading as for the Democrats, if you believe the polls for the next cycle. But there's zero chance that she will be the nominee next cycle. 0.0.
Zero, nada. Zilch.
Now, do I have a problem with Lex Friedman interviewing Zelensky? Did I have a problem with Tucker Carlson going to interview Vladimir Putin, going all the way over there? I did not.
That's a great point.
I don't think it's any different. No, I don't.
Good point, Johnny.
It's not on the interviewer to think for you. If you have to watch what Zelensky says and filter that through his motivations. You're a grown person, I would assume, listening to this, unless you're, one of these little 12-year-olds who stole their dad's phone or whatever. No.
And thank you for listening if you are.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, children.
But don't you agree? I mean, it's not Lex Friedman's job to think for you either.
What was the interview?
I'm going to watch that. I haven't watched it. I want to hear what he sounds like in that long form.
Was the interview in the States? Was it in the States, or did he had to go to Ukraine? Well, I really don't know where he got.
Yeah, this is not on my radar.
I don't know. I think he went to the Ukraine. And I love how he roped in Rogan. He's like, come to Austin. Me, you, and Rogan will grab a dinner. You're like, dude, you really just totally... Like, Rogan's got to be like, I don't want anything to do with any of this shit.
Yeah, this isn't clearly in Ukraine, XG. There's a bunch of like Ukrainian flags in the background and stuff, so I think it's in Ukraine. And you can tell that Zelensky, I can tell just 3 seconds into this, he's playing up the comedy thing, like he's laughing and yucking it up with him.
He's like, in my country, I great prop comic.
What was the guy?
I carry top of Ukraine.
Do you think he's the Yakov Smirnoff of Ukraine? Is that what he is?
Yes. Hey, problem is everybody in the Ukraine is Yakov Smirnoff. So it's like just everyone like, I don't understand. What is the funny thing? You're just talking normal.
It is. That's one of the topics that I go back and forth on the most is what's going on over there. I think it's entirely possible that both sides of that are no outcome of that is a win for humanity. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, whatever happens there, it's a loss for human. They've orchestrated the perfect conflict where if Ukraine defeats him, it's good. And if Russia rolls through and takes over Ukraine, it's good for them also. It's going to be bad for us no matter what happens because they got to sell their weapons and they got to,
they get to rebuild. They get to rebuild all Ukraine again.
Clear the board over there. Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys think about Trump calling out Gavin Newsom for the whole fires and that he should resign and all that? You think that's going to happen at all?
Will Gavin Newsom resign? Absolutely not. Of course.
No, there's no way. The question does this affect Gavin Newsom with his base? Because this is his base. Rich progressives who, for the longest time, had the money to be above all of it. Now, the question becomes, guys, like, are they going to have to pay off these properties even though there's no property when there's no insurance?
Who's
so
going
if
to
you
pay
just got a
off?
house, so if I own this house, I got insurance, and then they revoke the insurance right before the fire, and then the fire happens, and I owe $1 million on this house. Do I own $1 million on this house still?
You would still owe on your mortgage, absolutely.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's a loan, dude. That's
devastation. How do you get out from under that?
That's like
it would be like
liability.
a car. Same thing with a car, right? If you lost your car crashed or something and you didn't have insurance, no car, no money. No, we're cool.
And it
Oh
happened to
my
me.
God.
It happened to me. I had a regular Honda Civic with liability, and a tree fell on it. And since it's not full coverage, you take the L. I mean, if you have full coverage, you will be all right. But if you just have liability or you're not covered with full insurance on your, and you were in the fine print, it might say no fires. It does not cover fires. You'd be really, really fucked. Aren't you glad you don't own a house today, Sam?
Look at this. Stone face. This is from the New York Post. Stone face LA Mayor Karen Bass refuses to answer questions about absence as wildfires rage across city. I'm just telling you, dude, in Lahaina, the local, all the politicians that were involved in fires were either out of state, on the other side of the state. I'm just telling you.
Wild, right? It's wild.
It is so wild, dude. You know? It's just crazy. It's so sad. It's so deep. And it's just like, now they're going to buy all this land, pennies on the dollar. And here's the craziest thing. Guess who just took a leave of absence from the Clippers?
Oh, I know my fantasy team. I got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on my fantasy team. Neither one of them ever plays. Kawhi, by the way, is the one. If you're listening at home, he's taking a break because of the fires.
Because of his family.
Like he's the only one who lives in LA.
Who cares?
I mean, I get
So
caring,
sad.
but it's just like, yeah, it will. I don't, Sam. I would be surprised if this gets handled the same way as the Hawaii thing, though, just because you're talking about masters of mankind type that live in the Palisades.
Look at this, Johnny. Let me read you this. Mayor Karen Bass stands in stunned silence for nearly 2 minutes as reporter asks if she regrets cutting LA Fire Department's budget by nearly $20 million.
Is that a video? You have that? I would love to.
Yes. Hold on.
It's like that thing where, like, when you don't think you need firemen, you kind of do you stop paying them until you really do need them.
It's
Ukraine
just
thing, by
nuts.
the way, the sullying of the Klitschko name is one of the worst things to come out of this Ukraine thing, because there are people saying now that they were into like pedo rings and stuff, and it's just me.
Now it's coming out that they were running like sex trafficking.
I don't know if I believe it, but if it's true, it's terrible. Because I grew up loving the Klitschkos. Obviously it's terrible. I'm just talking. Okay, I got the Karen Bass thing here. Boy, she looks like she's aged about 20 years over the past.
Black don't crack, and she's cracking like a motherfucker.
She really is. Hold on, I'm
You
bringing.
see her?
You're not allowed to wear makeup to these. Have you noticed you're not allowed to like wear makeup or dress fancy to these disaster press conferences?
You're not?
Well, they just never do. You know, they always have to look like they're out on a safari or whatever. You know.
Citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning. Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
What is she doing?
Have you absolutely nothing
Biden.
to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering
Oh
your
my
position?
God. Is this guy an H-1B visa guy?
Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
She's just like, why won't this door open?
Yeah,
Open
well,
this
where is she? Why doesn't she leave
Yeah, I
then?
think she's like in a I don't think it's a press conference. She's on a jetway. It looks like or something.
Yeah.
Oh
Do
my
you think you should
God.
have been
Yeah,
visiting
she's at the airport.
Ghana while
She's on a
this was
jetway.
unfolding back home?
Yeah, she's waiting to get off the jet. She's deplaning, I think, is what it looks like.
I just to sit there and say nothing. It's just insane.
Oh, it's a horrible look. Yeah, you got to be able to. That right there. That moment is what sets apart the politicians like Clinton and Obama and Reagan and guys like that and people like this. Because
I can't talk about Reagan without thinking about
Yeah, I
him
know.
getting
Wasn't
mad.
that funny, dude? What Kurt said, that was so.
He just literally acted like he didn't say nothing. Oh,
yeah, he just went. It's like a.
They're like,
speed-
what? Whoa, what?
Have you ever heard that? I've never heard that.
I've never heard that, but
No,
I
he
will
said a few
believe.
things I'd never heard.
I will believe Kurt Metzger because
Oh,
why
absolutely.
not? It's a lot more fun to believe him than not to believe him.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, but
But
that
to cut $20 million out
oh, it's a bad. Look.
of the fire budget.
As a Democrat, you're the tax and spend type. You're the ones who waste all the money. I mean,
And why that? There's so many other things you can pull money from. Unbelievable, dude.
Imagine that, and then obviously defund the police. Let's not forget they did that one too.
It's just so crazy, man. It's so sad, dude. Crazy ass episode. Ian Carroll is the man.
He's great.
Guys, go to samtripoli.com. Again, got dates coming up. Going to be at one of the best comedy clubs in the country, the Comedy Vault in Batavia. Then I'm going to be with my man, Xavier Guerrero, and Eddie, the Prophet Eddie Bravo, will be at Pottstown, PA on the 7th. We also got Morristown, New Jersey on the 8th. And then we got, we're missing one, right? Go up. Oh, yeah. Columbus, Ohio. We keep forgetting Columbus, Ohio. Go down. Columbus, Ohio on the 6th. So,
and you got your Comedy Chaos, which is a fucking crazy lineup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Comedy Chaos is tonight. Go to Comedy Chaos. Grab your tickets now. The Comedy Store has actually been closed. They closed it for like 4 days because of the fires. It's super sad. Super duper sad. And yeah. What else? Fuck, man. Premium content, go check that out. I'm adding stuff every day to samtripoli.com. You're getting like 3 episodes a week, deep dives into the crazy shit. Cash Daddies is a great place to make money. Dude, we're on fire lately, so go check that out. And then finally, what else do we got? T-shirts. Gold and silver, Wise Wolf, gold and silver. Go to samtripoli.gold. Use the promo code tinfoil and get precious metals sent to your house for as little as $50 a day. Rife Technology, bang, Aquacure hydrogen brown gas. Harley Ray, we love their crystals, candles, crystals, sage, chemical free body. I take it every day. I'm getting my own line coming out very soon. Joel Staley, get in shape. EMF rocks. Fight that dirty energy. Prometheus, if you're looking for a decentralized website. And Brain Supreme, bang, bang, pow. Do it. And anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe, guys, and don't forget to leave a comment, please.
Please come hang out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard.
All right. Enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
One of us lost our Twitter account. One of us no longer can tweet. Johnny living dangerous. Johnny going for those clicks and those views and living dangerous. Now he's been.
I was suspended from Twitter, is what he's. If you don't know, I've been.
Do you get it back at any time?
No, I wish I could come back at any time. No, it's. I don't know what's happening.
It's not suspended. That's more like banned?
Well, the word they used is suspended, which gives me some hope. In the email I got, they said you have been suspended. What I was in briefly, I was arguing with some people about the fires. One guy who said, and I swear it had to be a troll. He goes, I have family in LA, and I'm like, dude, I live in LA. Everybody I know people who had their houses burned. What are you talking about?
What does that mean?
Well, and then he comes back and he's like, look, here's proof. And it's like his second cousin or something is in LA or something outside of LA, like in Orange County. And I'm like, maybe he's trolling me. And then some other people came along talking about it and dumping on conspiracies and stuff, which got me, into my like TFH, like what, that's our turf. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then another
we must protect this house.
This other guy comes in and says, hey, my bros said that I needed to talk to you or something like that. Like he got called in by his bros is what it was. And he's like a Ukrainian military guy or something. I don't know, some weird association with Ukraine.
I got called to call in to talk to you by my bros.
I was making fun of him because clearly English was his second language, and I have a guy for that, by the way, if you want some help learning English. And
Xavier Guerrero?
Yeah, I was thinking him. And then he kept going on. He's like
Xavier Guerrero, the biggest retard on the planet. Oh, you got.
He goes. If you continue in this way, I will destroy you. And I was like, what do you mean? You're going to destroy me? What? And then a few minutes later, it was over. I was pink mist, like JFK's the top of his head, just gone. I was out of there. It was very strange. I have a thought now. I realized after I had one. So I had a tweet. Somebody was talking about Trump being a convicted felon, some politician or something, and they were like, their tweet was, "There's nothing you can do now not to be a convicted felon, Donald Trump." And I said, "There's nothing you can do to make anybody give a shit," was my reply. And then some guy started replying to me like, "Your tweet's never going to get any likes." You know, he kept like obsessing about my tweet not getting as many likes as the original tweet. And it was weird. I was like, "What are you, 17?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm actually a teenager, yes." And then it got like 1,000 likes in like a second, like impossible number of likes, you know? And you could see only, and I think maybe he bought likes on the tweet, like botted the.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that weird kind of in exchange where he's like, "You suck," and then like 2 seconds later he's like, "You and blah 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 should do a show together." Like they liked you.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was weird. It's the internet, dude.
But
have you seen where someone edited together me and me on your mom's house?
No,
and literally the back to back comments were, "Delete your account."
Oh,
this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Back to back. I'm like, welcome to the internet.
No winning, right? It's no winning.
There's no, I mean, dude, it's just, it's all meant to make you just go crazy, and you just kind of got to let it go.
Well, I was having fun. Now, normally, sometimes I get too involved and I'll get like, it gives me almost like anxiety because I want to destroy these people. But these guys, I was just kind of having fun with, you know, I was just kind of shitting on his English and stuff. But they were not, I mean, they did some, I think it's called brigading or whatever. It was just a bunch of random, they had to be bots. I just can't believe they were real people that were involved in this. But yeah, so I've appealed it.
Some guy said some Discord was bragging about getting you banned.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/SamTripoli.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.